So only the powerful get to decide. That's the game. There is no other game in town. That's the game. That's what they do. That's what they play. And I sent off a registered letter to demand documentation that that I am a micro entity and that they must recognize that they must charge me in an amount that is fair and justified by the term micro entity. Which means that, I'm not a big organization and I don't have a great amount of money, and that's how that is. But they refuse documentation, and they sent me back that registered letter, and they sent this, even though it contained a clear demand for documentation of microentity, and those were the refiling or mail-in filings to both patents that I have filed. And it says, we don't understand what you want. Although it was made absolutely clear. There is absolutely no doubt. You can find that on my website down here at jamesfoster.com. Or at least it will be there at some point whenever I decide to get it there. The end result is, of course, that power wants power. Power wants money, and the replacement of electrical generation, the replacement of large engines across the ships and all kinds of things represents a lot of money. It is, altogether, it will be trillions of dollars somewhere. So the end result of that is that either a large organization joins me to claim the patent that was filed. I have not abandoned it. They simply have created a game. They've created a maze for me to follow. They've created a trail of money for me to pay so that they can eventually get control over it, because I don't have enough money to stop them. I don't have a big enough organization to make them or force them to obey the law. They are the law. That's how it is. And you have no other say. That's what America is today. The university controls everything, and the university is a thief, as is proven by all the trillions of dollars that they've created in currency and what have you. And you can go to usdebtclock.org to find some of that information, and I believe it's the information that comes from Federal Reserve or Bureau of Statistics, Government Statistics, or something like that. I would send you to the statistical abstract, but they made the USA, but they made a complete maze out of that in 2016, so that you could not follow it, so that you would not understand it, so that you'd have to have 10,000 different degrees to have any clue about what is going on, because they don't want you to know what is going on. They don't want you to know that they're thieves. They don't want you to know that they're stealing. They do not want you to know that they emptied Fort Knox a long time ago. There is nothing in the vault. There is nothing in the vault. Do you know where the gold that you bought comes from? Reagan decided, you can buy gold. Do you know where he got the gold that he sold you? It came from Fort Knox. And their accounting accounts for, they got $11 million of gold in stock. That's what they claim. That's the assets of the United States, $11 million of gold in stock. That's what they have. In other words, they have nothing in Fort Knox. You can prove that. Just go ahead and demand that they open the gate. Open the door. Let them show you. And of course, you have to be very careful about that kind of information, because they'll just plain lie and cheat and steal. But the end result is they sold the gold, they sold the money, they sold our Social Security. They stole that. They sold, or stole the U.S. mail retirement fund. They sold, everything is not tied down. They've sold. Because that's what the universities do. They fantasize that it doesn't matter. They delude themselves that nobody's going to pay this debt. Well, we're not going to pay the debt. You have to pay the debt. And they steal from the future. Everything. And they make you believe that this is great because they created resources that you could buy. Let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. let's go shopping. But the end result of that, of course, is that your entire household or wherever it is, completely stacked to the top with junk, and it all ends in the garbage. Resources end in the garbage. Living things end in the garbage. Exterminated by you, by your decision to not understand what is or is not going on, by your decision to avoid the reality that they're stealing from you, that they emptied your own account. You have nothing but numbers. They're not, they're empty promises. It is a finite world, and a finite world means there is an end to it. No matter what it is, there's an end to the water supply because you take too much and you do too little to protect it. There are trillions of tons. They hid the information of how many trillion tons are out there. Like 20 years ago, when after using it, of course, they don't want you to know, so they hid it. They hid everything they don't want you to know. And you say, well, somebody's got to be there protecting us. Well, nobody's protecting you. Thieves are in charge. Thieves are in charge, and the longer you let the thieves be in charge, the more you lose. That's just how it is. If you know the thief is taking all that all that you have, and they're giving you lies and manipulation and propaganda and everything they can think of to avoid the actual reality of what you might find out if you were to look. But the end result is just like me. I have a couple of patents that are probably worth $1 billion easily. They're probably worth $1 billion easily. And said, well, how can that be? Why are you not just demanding that they should pay you or do whatever you have to make that come true? And the end result of that is the money is a lie, and the future is a lie, and everything about government is a lie. And in order to make them confront them, I've been to the court system before, and they're not going to do anything that power doesn't want them to do unless they have to. And that means that they require a lot of people actually confronting them with the reality that you have to obey the law, because they're not going to obey the law on their own. I've been there. I know. They're not. They're not going to obey the law. I put constitutional law in front of them, particularly redress, numerous times, and they're not going to obey. They remain absolutely silent, because when they start saying anything, that means I have a right to confront them with what they did say, so they don't say anything, so that they can walk away and close the door and just shut me out and shut you out, and that's just the end of it. Because if you won't fight, then you won't win, but you won't lose either. And they know they can't lose, and they know that as long as I'm just standing here by myself, there's nothing in the world that I can do to open the door. There's nothing in the world that I can do to make them obey the law. There's nothing in the world that I can do to make them obey what they are enforcing is supposed to enforce for us all. And of course, that means that they just get to steal. They've been stealing and stealing and stealing and stealing. They've been selling you out. They've been selling the nation out. They've been selling the future out. And they believe that in the end, they're safe because, got weapons of mass destruction. You can't come here, we'll kill you. But they kill the whole world. And they won't kill, they won't use them because, with the universities, the thing about an intellectual trap is that we don't want you to see us. We'll hide behind the back door curtains. We'll close you off. You won't know who it is. That's what the whole term of intellectual law is. The actual assailant, the actual person in charge of the crime is hiding. Is hiding. That's what a maze is for. to hide the person who was actually in charge of this theft. To remove the idea that you can identify this guy or this girl as an enemy. And of course, if people recognize an enemy, then they know what they want to do with that enemy. As is, leaders lead you to war by saying, these are the enemy. And they force you into positions where you have to defend yourself because they're going to take everything you have. Or they're going to kill you anyway if they cross the line and you're not confronting them. So, they force you to become part of their army. And, that just means that we've lost control. And the purpose of my pointing this out to you, what is money really? But if I have a bunch of it, that just means I have to do something with it. It's not a game. It's not a trophy. It's not a trophy. You can go out into the world and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Well, so what? When you die, that becomes true. Death is a truth. So the end result of that is whatever is true will survive. Whatever is true will decide what comes next. So if you decide, or if you believe that there is something about eternity that does exist, and I don't mean the people who go to church and what have you to pay their little insurance bill to make sure that they get into heaven because they paid a couple bucks out of their pocket for this, so you owe me now. Well, no, you don't. Not going to get to heaven that way, or hell, or whatever it is that you think. You can believe anything you want. Anything. It doesn't matter what you believe. That's your personal choice. But whatever is true is going to decide. It doesn't matter what you believe. What is true will decide. And you need to understand that, because it is the truth. Truth is truth. And it's not the truth that you want it to be. It's the truth as to how it actually is. People believe of themselves that they are this or they are that or they are the other thing because that's what they want. But the end result, of course, is that what you want doesn't make it true. What you want doesn't decide what the future will be. What you want is just a path or a road that leads to what the rest of them want, usually. And the end result of that is you don't get to own that. Well, actually you do. It is your truth, and what your truth is decides what your fate is. So it is important what you believe, because believers are the primary motivators of how life on earth goes, life as a human goes. There are people who love, small percentage. There are people who hate, much larger percentage. But the biggest portion of human life on earth is the animal who simply wants. I don't care about the future. I don't care about you or them or the other thing. I only care about me and what I want or what I don't want. That's what humanity is. So then every behavior is based upon what they want. If you want to know what the future will be like with a certain person or a boy or girl, it doesn't make any difference. Just listen to what they want. Because what they want is the direction of their life and how it will go. That is what they're going to choose. They're going to choose what they want. Unless they actually love someone, which means that I'm going to share and care and we're going to live a life together as family. And of course then there's hate, which means that they're going to lie and deceive and cheat and steal and do everything possible to make sure that you don't get what you want. I want to take what they have. So that would be hate. But of course, then there are the people who lie and cheat and steal just even for sex and what have you. And the people who believe what they believe, even though you're told don't believe that. They still believe it anyway, and the end result of that is that you're going to end up with a heartache, because you can't decide for someone else what is their truth. You can't do that. You have to let them choose what they want, what is true for them, and you have to accept that, because if you give them your love, which means that you give them your innocence and all the things that are precious to you, you gave it to them. You know, that's what went wrong with this nation. You believed in America. You believed in it, and you gave them your faith that it's working and it'll work and so on, but it didn't. Because you gave them your faith, they stole it. You believed, so they stole it. You trusted, so they stole it. And the future is dead.